In progress.
Thank you.
I'm
Committee
really sorry about this. I have to apologize.
No, please,
I've been waiting since 5 to get on.
I'm so sorry, Councilor Labarge. My apologies.
No problem.
Okay, so welcome to the Finance Committee May 5th meeting. I am obliged to tell you you're being audio and video recorded. Let's see, we are going to start with a roll call.
Okay, Councilor Maori,
Here.
Councilor Labarge,
Here.
Councilor Moulton,
Here.
and Councilor Nash.
Here.
Okay, excellent. So first up, we're just going to approve some minutes before we move on to the public hearing. Minutes of April 14th. Do we have a motion from a councilor?
Yes, move that we approve the April 14th Finance Committee meeting
And I
minutes.
will second it.
Okay, roll call, please.
Okay, Councilor Maori,
Yes.
Councilor Labarge,
Here.
Councilor-
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
Councilor Moulton,
Yes.
and Councilor Nash.
Yes.
Excellent. So minutes have been approved. Moving on to the public hearing to alter the layout of Winter Street. I was talking to Laura about this. We think on this be on the safe side. We'll vote to open the public hearing. We might not have to vote to open it, but that would be great if there was a motion to.
I move to open the public hearing on Winter
All right.
Street.
All right.
A second.
Okay. Roll call. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, Councilor Maori,
Yes.
Councilor Labarge,
Yes.
Councilor Moulton,
Yes.
and Councilor Nash.
Yes.
Okay. Public hearing is now open.
Councilor Maori,
Yeah. Yes.
I suggest reading just into the record, where it says in the agenda pursuant to Mass General Law, just reading that.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
then also both the order and the order of taking. I know it'll take like a minute, but I think it just checks all the boxes.
So all four orders, all four items.
No,
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean.
so the first of the items on the list and the third item.
Right, got it.
Okay.
Okay, so pursuant to MGL Chapter 82, Section 21, the Northampton City Council Committee on Finance is holding a public hearing by remote participation to consider altering the layout of Winter Street and to consider the permanent easement hereby taken as shown on a plan entitled Plan of Winter Street Alteration, Northampton, Mass, prepared for the city of Northampton, dated April 5, 2022. Let's see. So the first one is in City Council, April 14th, 2022, upon the recommendation of Mayor Gina Louise Chiara and the Department of Public Works, 22.076, in order to alter the layout of Winter Street. Whereas Winter Street was duly laid out as a city way on a plan dated September 12, 1910, with a length of 475 feet and a width of 33 feet. And this layout was accepted and recorded by the city on November 3rd, 1910. Whereas an area of land approximately 70 feet long and 33 feet wide at the end of said layout was drawn on the 1910 plan, but not included in the area of acceptance. And whereas parcel number 1 shown on the proposed layout alteration has been determined as owner unknown on multiple registered survey plans, and said parcel number 1 is approximately 73 feet long and 33 feet wide, essentially matching the dimensions of previously unaccepted portion of the 1910 layout. Whereas an order of taking has been filed herewith for the acquisition of the necessary permanent easement for the alteration of the way. Now, therefore, ordered that City Council hereby alters the layout of the way as shown on the plan entitled Plan of Winter Street Alteration, Northampton, Mass, Hampshire County, prepared for the city of Northampton by Northeast Surveys, dated April 5th, 2022. plan as follows. Winter Street by adding to the layout thereof parcel 1 as shown on the plan. Okay.
Councilor
Yes,
Maley,
Laura,
if I may,
yes.
usually the other document that's read is the order authorizing the acquisition of easements, because the order of taking is the document recorded at the registry, but the
Okay.
actual action taken by the council is authorizing the acquisition of the easements.
So this third, the order of taking.
Number 2 is usually the 2 documents.
Oh, it's
The
okay.
Thank you,
order
Laura.
of taking
Oh,
is always
interesting.
signed after the fact, but
Ah,
not
okay.
generally read
Got it.
aloud.
Okay, I'll go for that then. City of Northampton, Massachusetts, in City Council, April 14th, 2022, upon the recommendation of Mayor Jean Louise Sciarra and the Department of Public Works, 2020.076, an order authorizing the acquisition of easements to alter the layout of Winter Street. Whereas Winter Street was duly laid out as a cityway on plan dated September 12, 1910, with a length of 475 feet and a width of 33 feet. And this layout was accepted and recorded by the city on November 3rd, 1910. And whereas an area of land approximately 70 feet and 33 feet wide at the end of said layout was drawn on the 1910 plan, but not included in the area of acceptance. And whereas parcel number 1 shown on the proposed layout alteration has been determined as owner unknown on multiple registered survey plans. And whereas the parcel number 1 is approximately 73 feet and 33 feet wide, essentially matching the dimensions of the previously unaccepted portion of the 1910 layout. And whereas the Department of Public Works plans to reconstruct the roadway and the utilities therein, and said reconstruction plans include utilizing the owner unknown parcel for drainage improvements. And whereas the property identified as 29 Winter Street does not currently have legal frontage without the proposed layout alteration of Winter Street, now therefore be it ordered, the City Council hereby authorizes the acquisition by purchase, gift, eminent domain, or otherwise of easements over the parcel of land shown as parcel number 1 on a plan entitled Plan of Winter Street Alteration, Northampton, Massachusetts, Hampshire County, prepared for the City of Northampton by Northeast Surveys, dated April 5th, 2022, for the purpose of laying out a public way in and for the City of Northampton. No appropriation is needed for the acquisition. No betterment shall be assessed to the benefited landowners, excuse me. Okay. Let's get that going. So I'm not going to read the other ones then, but we can hear from proponents first.
Yes.
And well, and also if the director would just want to give us, any broad strokes as well.
Okay, hi, good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. So for the folks on the call who might not know me, my name is Donna Lascalia. I'm the Director of Public Works for the city. As you folks may know, we have had a couple of really serious water main breaks over the past several years on Winter Street that have caused quite a bit of damage. And what we have been working on since the last event, which I believe was in 2018, 2019 timeframe, is a plan to improve the utilities in the roadway. So what we need to do is we need to improve the water main. We need to actually separate a combined sewer and stormwater system. So stormwater is flowing into the sewer system, which is not desirable and is actually something that is a violation of our permit. So we do need to have separate systems. So that's something that we found when we were doing a utility survey there. And so as part of our due diligence, anytime we do a reconstruction, we look at sort of the technicalities of the roadway. And what you see in front of you today is the order to take this very small parcel of land is a little bit of housekeeping from 1910. So this is just a very small section of land right at the end of the street that was never formalized. So it's an owner unknown, very small piece of land, but it is actually right where we need to make some drainage improvements. So from a very technical legal perspective, the city needs this action to be undertaken by the council tonight and this committee tonight to hold this public hearing so that we actually have the legal right to reconstruct this roadway in a way that's going to most benefit the neighborhood. Anytime we are going to come in and make some drainage improvements or do utility work, we obviously can't go into property that the city does not have a legal right to enter into. So that's why we're here tonight. And again, we're just trying to clean up something that I think the intent was there in 1910. It just never happened, and it's something that we've caught 112 years later, I'm sorry, not 112 years later, but my math is a little bit off, but it's time to clean this up. So I appreciate your efforts on this tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, Director. Yes, Councilor Labarge.
Yes, I wanted to talk with Director Donna LaScalia.
Yes, please. Please
Donna, question. Anyways, reading about the easements and so forth, my question is, it does not currently have a legal frontage, so that's why nothing can be done with that small little piece, correct?
Yeah, so this.
So how is it deeded then, Donna?
It's an owner unknown right now. So there's a lot of parcels like this throughout the city. The city just doesn't know who the owner is. Sometimes it matters and sometimes it's not quite as important. In this case, because we're trying to take an action to improve the roadway, it does matter. So we want to take this property so that we can improve it for the benefit of the neighborhood.
Okay, so by giving you the okay, you will automatically have the frontage to go in and do what you got to do, correct?
Yes, it's not frontage, it becomes part of the roadway. What we're trying to do is add this 70 by 33 foot section and make it officially, legally part of Winter Street so that we can then improve it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, councilors or any proponents? Or opponents?
So, hey, how you doing? I'm Christopher Niebuhr. I'm the son, one of the sons of Fred and Rose Niebuhr, who live at 29 Winter Street.
Okay.
Have any of the council persons been out to this parcel of this end of Winter Street other than Stan?
I drove.
I did too. I drove.
I
Okay.
didn't get out. I'm not by foot.
So we have, my understanding is adverse possession over this entire unknown parcel. We've, my family, my parents and I have maintained this property since they've owned it for the past 58 years. It's been our primary source of parking for the residents. It's been maintained by adding gravel, adding grass, adding plants, the azalea bushes and lilacs at the end of the street, or at the end of the parcel, the 70 by 33, and mowed and maintained for the past 58 years. So what we'd like to suggest is to add this parcel to our taxable land area. And then, we're not adverse to an easement for drainage over the parcel as long as it does not interfere with our usage.
Okay, thank you, Christopher.
And my understanding of my brief understanding of Massachusetts law is that, notorious and open use of a vacant parcel for 20 or more years grants us possession. Now, obviously, you have to go through, the means to go ahead and have that added. But I've been talking with Roger Green, who's an employee of Miss Scalia's from the Department of Public Works. And he assured me over the past, I initially talked to him during the summer, and he assured me that the city had no intention of taking ownership of this piece of property. And so
Okay.
I found out about this today because a sign was stuck in the yard this morning. And then the councilman, Sam, who I've actually coincidentally met twice. I live in Atlanta. The last time I was here, well, not the last time, one of the last times I was here, he happened to be canvassing the neighborhood, and I opened the door and we chatted. And then today when I was leaving for an appointment at approximately 3:30, he was talking with the owners of, I believe it's 21 Winter Street, Mr. and Mrs. Ryan. So I chatted with him. My brother happened to be in town because I'm in town. Then my brother came up and chatted with Sam, and Sam passed on the information for the Zoom call. And I logged in, and my brother's in the process of getting back to his residence and said he would log on if time permits. But so, you know, as the son of Rose and Fred Niebuhr, you know, I object to the city taking this property, especially since, like what I just read, you know, we have adverse possession over this property according to Massachusetts state law.
Okay,
I
thank
mean,
you.
we've maintained this property not just for 20 years. I mean, I personally maintained it as soon as I was able to mow the lawn out front. So, and rake and shovel and everything else.
I'm going to want to, Laura, I'm going to want to pull the map up, but I want to see if there's any other, anyone else here who wants to make comments before I pull. I just wanted to take a look at the map, if we could screen share the plan.
Yep.
And I did have a question for the director about notifying abutters.
Oh dear, sorry about that. One second.
That's okay. Yeah,
Let me just rotate it.
screen share is hard because then you can't see folks. So please
Here we go.
tell me verbally if you want to speak, because I can't see you all when the screen share. But I wanted to take a look at this. And director, I was wondering about like notifying abutters and how that process works with this type of taking.
Yeah, I didn't hear who the gentleman, I'm sorry, he just
So
disappeared
I'm
off my
Christopher
screen.
Niebuhr. I'm the son of Red and Froze Niebuhr, the owners of 29 Winter Street. And I've been communicating with one of your employees, Roger Green.
So I don't have an employee named Roger Green.
So hold on. Let me make sure that I got the right guy from the DPW. Hold on. I thought his name was Roger.
Yeah, so my process question is,
Yeah, so Counselor, we have had engineers who have been in the neighborhood speaking to folks, but the formal notification for this happens through the public hearing process.
Okay.
So but I have had folks from engineering canvassing the neighborhood and speaking with abutters as we are going through the design process here, but formal notifications are done through this process.
okay, thank you. I was curious about the process.
Where's this guy?
And I'm not sure who did the notification since I was out on family medical leave, but for the Mass Safe Streets School, those takings, I know that the planning department did the notifications of all the owners of record.
Yes.
So unfortunately, I'm not sure if they did in this instance do the notifications or who was. I can ask Pam.
Right, and also what the legal requirement is, and have we met it?
Dan has his hand raised.
Oh, thank you. I can't see everyone. Where? Oh, yes, Councillor Melton.
Yes, I'm not sure either if abutters were notified of this hearing. According to Christopher and his brother Richard, they believe that the parents were not notified. The sign that he mentioned is actually referring to the Conservation Commission hearing a week from tonight on the drainage improvements that Director LaScalia mentioned. So that sign has nothing to do with tonight's hearing.
Yeah, and we did get, my parents did get a certified letter over the past 2 weeks since I've been here, and it was in regards to exactly what you just said, Sam. With regards to the wetlands.
Okay, yes, Laura, and then we'll get to
And
Catherine.
I think the notifications go to owners of record and not abutters. So if that is the case, then if it's an owner on unknown parcel,
Right,
there may
yeah.
be no one to notify.
Right.
Got it. Oh, I just wanted to know, I'm concerned about us meeting our legal.
Right,
requirements.
right.
Let's see, Catherine. Let me see. Can you unmute yourself?
Let me help.
Yeah, I just wanted to weigh in because I'm one of the abutters of the neighborhood and have had the house, been the owner for 25 years. So when I first moved in, it was unclear who owned that property, but it was very clear that the Neubauers were care of that the entire time I've been here. But I have other questions because I was the house on the block that always 2 times in 2007, 2019 took the hardest hit, $40,000 this last time, and only half of it was compensated. So I have a very strong interest in supporting all your efforts at DPW of trying to repair the street. But I was not notified that I did get the notification for the action to be taken or potential action with having to work with Conservation Commission, but not this activity. So,
Catherine, just to clarify, when you said you could hit, you mean because of drainage issues?
not great. It was their 2
Oh.
major water main breaks in
Water main breaks.
2009, and they were last one in 2019 was devastating for my home, and they had to do major reconstruction of the foundation of my house and the garage, and it was very, very costly. So the
Sorry to hear that.
street and the residents were deeply affected. But I think it's not only our street, but then when that occurred, it also, it affects the capacity for the whole street and the community to be able to deal with any severe weather. But I just had a clarifying question, just because when I was trying to look at this schematic diagram and it wasn't clear, when you're talking about parcel 1, is the city of DPW planning to widen the street, or are you going to stay within the parameters of what you have now? Because are you focusing mostly or specifically on parcel 1 that's 73 by 16 feet? Because the schematic design is more confusing. Looking at them, seeing these designs, but
let me ask the director. Director, do you? Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no plans to widen the street there. The 70 by 33 foot section will be laid out as part of the street as it was intended in 1910. And then that section gets used to improve the drainage so that we can disconnect it from the sewer system. So that is the intent behind what they're doing, but we don't plan to make a larger footprint in any way. That nothing's being widened.
okay,
Like with asphalt, nothing's being widened.
okay, that's what I was thinking, because the schematic diagram has 2 parallel lines. One, say, the original property lines, and then the other is unclear. It looks like it's a proposal to have a widened road.
Right, that's just the block to make it consistent with the rest of the layout of the street.
Okay.
That's the purpose.
Clarifying.
Well, thank you, Catherine. Let's see, Councilor Labarge, and then.
Yes, thank you. This is for the director, Donna LaScalia. I'm a little concerned hearing from the resident in regards to taking care of that property for so many years and a legal aspect involved here. Could you answer to what he's talking about, Jonna? How he and his family have taken care of that property for so many years, and something about the law, which.
Yeah, it's called adverse possession.
That's it. Thank you.
And just, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the name of your employee is Felix Harvey.
Thank you. That is one of our engineers.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
His name is, that's okay. His name is Felix. I just wanted to make sure that someone who did work for the DPW was speaking 100%. With you. Okay, excellent. Counselor, what I can say is that, occasionally this does happen, where folks are using or maintaining something, like is the case in this place. What I would say is that the DPW is making an attempt to improve a poor utility situation on Winter Street that's actually caused significant damage to several households there. Part of that effort is water main improvements, and part of the effort is sewer and drainage improvements. This 70 by 33 foot piece, represents a part of the project that we need in order to improve the infrastructure of the street. And that's why we're here asking for the ability to take that for sort of the good of the neighborhood. So I certainly understand Mr. Niebuhr's concerns that his family has been using this. But this is how we need to engineer the street in order to improve it.
Yeah, that's actually, I mean, I'm actually a mechanical engineer myself. So that's one of the reasons why I had some pretty in-depth conversations with Felix and asked for a copy of the plans, and he shared them with me. And there's always multiple solutions to a problem. And at the time when the plans were being developed, I was told by Felix that we would be involved, we would be informed of anything going on. And there was never any additional communication by Felix or anybody from your department ever. And I reached out, when I reached out to Felix, he was more than willing to share information with me. Probably, he's cautious about his job and what he can and can't share. But once I shared with him that I was a mechanical engineer and I could read the prints and understand what was going on, he seemed a little bit more open. Now, as far as the drainage aspect of what's going on with the 70, approximately 2,100 square feet that's in front of my parents' house, I mean, there's a myriad of other solutions that engineering firms could come up with. But like I said, I mean, we've maintained that property. And, according to Massachusetts state law, which I looked up before I got on the phone here, because I live in Georgia, and I'll read it to you. It says adverse possession is granted when one person makes open and notorious use of another person's property over a period of 20 more continuous years. The common law of Massachusetts states that use of property must have been open, notorious, adverse, and exclusive for those 20 years. And we've done it for 58 years. And nobody's ever come in and said, hey, we got this problem. And we need to, modify something. I mean, basically what happened is the street deteriorated and the pipes deteriorated into a completely abysmal and unacceptable situation. I mean, I know through my career, if you decide not to do maintenance specifically on things where, they're going to break and cause catastrophic failure, then, you're at fault. This parcel, this was registered and laid out in 1910, over 100 years ago. And somebody telling me that something, laid out over 100 years ago is the way it, was intended to be used and should be taken over by the city for DPW for better use. I mean, I don't understand that. I mean, there's, that argument doesn't hold water with me.
Okay, Christopher, we need to, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I need to hear from some of the counselors because we're gonna have to make a decision about time soon. Counselor Nash? Oh, no.
He's muted.
Oops.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Councilor Maori. So a question in terms of adverse possession, would that be for the entire piece of property or just for a section of it? I'm because right now, if the claim is for the entirety of the property, that would include part of the street. And
I have a process question for President Nash. I believe that Solicitor Seawald is away, or is he going to attend the council meeting tonight?
I don't think he will. I don't know. I haven't asked.
If he were going to, I was going to say that we could.
We need some legal advice.
Yeah, because Laura?
He hasn't been specifically requested to attend, but I actually have a memo of his describing the street layout procedure from, the first time that we did it. And I was going to share something from that. Okay, I'm pulling it up if I may. Okay.
I just don't want us to try to answer legal questions.
Well, I think this will give you some clarity about the council's action.
Wow.
This was, here is a memo from Attorney Seawald, procedures for laying out ways, that was written back in 2018.
Did you just have it in your back pocket, Laura?
Well, it's one of my, it was actually on the agenda for the Mass Safe Street. We recently did the process for the safe routes to school. But, it lays out the procedure of a petition being filed, a public hearing being held. But one part of the procedure, it says, this number 5 here, if at the hearing no person interested objects, the council may proceed to lay out the way within 12 months of the hearing. If there is an objection from an interested party, the council must hold another hearing with statutory notice set forth in the preceding paragraph.
There you
So
go.
I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that I think Mr. Niebuhr did claim to have an objection. So I'm not sure, but I'm not sure you can proceed to lay out the way given this memo from the solicitor. So, I'm just reading, that's my face value interpretation of that.
Thank you, Laura.
And to answer the other councilman's question about parcel adverse possession, I mean, I haven't discussed that. That's the first time that any type of alternative solution has been presented. I do know when Felix was out, he explained to me, because I was curious as to exactly where the end of the street ends and this unknown parcel begins. And so that's defined really, he told me, by the asphalt that's currently in place. So there's a drain that's on, as you come down Winter Street, it's on the left-hand side, abuts our neighbor's property. And that drain goes off into the diagonally into the marsh area. And that's been there since, 1910, we'll say, or shortly thereafter. That's where that 70 feet by 30 feet starts. My intention with this meeting was, we've maintained that property.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
Christopher, I'm going to have to ask you to just.
Yeah, sure.
No, I'd like to do it by hand. The only reason is usually we're not rushed at all, but we're going to all be invaded by the rest of full council pretty soon.
Sure.
So we need to make some. I'm so glad you are here. Let me just check in with Director LaScalia and then I think Councilor Moulton.
I'll be brief. I just regarding drainage alternatives, I just want to let the group know that we've actually examined several drainage alternatives. And what we are proposing to do with this 70 by 33 piece of land is actually the least costly to the city. And a very, very effective option rather than trying to permit and install a new outfall that would be a very lengthy process. The other thing that I want to add is that we have very tight windows for construction. We have known infrastructure deficiencies on Winter Street, and it is our hope to sort of get through this process, put this project to bid, and construct it. So I certainly understand Mr. Niebuhr's concerns on behalf of his family, and I respect that, but it is my job to let the group know that delays in this process are actually going to delay this project. We will ultimately lose the weather, and we could potentially lose, our ability to do something in a timely manner here. And that's not the best case scenario. So I just wanted to make those 2 points. Thank you.
Yeah, but how does your department with this
Christopher, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I need to get to, we'll get back to you. I just need to check in with Councilor Moulton. Would you?
Thanks. Director Liscalia, what's your reaction to the offer by the Niebauers to have the land taken by them with an easement for the city to use as needed for drainage?
Councilor, I think that would be more of a question for the city solicitor. It's really unclear to me how to interpret, the actual plan from 1910 that shows this, but was never formalized. So I think that's really a legal question for the solicitor. Ultimately, my concern is the drainage here. So however that's accomplished is fine, but I can't fully answer that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that's why I think we need the solicitor, because the other thing is, when you talk about another property, is owner unknown considered, caring for another's property if it's owner unknown, that kind of question I would have. Yes, I see you, Councilor Labarge. Yep.
Thank you. Anyways, I would like to make a motion that we move this hearing and have another hearing on May 11th with our city solicitor attending it.
Yes, I second that. I'm assuming what you're proposing, Councilor Labarge, is that we continue the hearing to May 11th, our next meeting.
Correctly.
Second.
Okay. I have a question for the director. How is that timeline feeling in terms of what you were just, your concern that you were just, we're meeting again next Wednesday.
Yeah, I think the important thing is to resolve this in a way that is fair to the neighbors.
Okay.
So I have no objection.
Excellent. So I guess my question is, so we don't have to make a recommendation tonight if we move to the Wednesday meeting. So any other comments, or do we want to?
So I have a comment. So this is, one of the things that I used to do in my past life as an engineer. I was involved in project management. So, in a Gantt chart where you have something that is critical path.
Is it on now? Oh.
Could you please mute if you're not speaking? Yeah.
Yeah, something that's considered critical path to the completion of the project is not left until the last minute,
right,
to be discussed. So, the director's comments as being forceful that this needs to get done in a timely manner is offensive, because if she's not doing her job in a timely manner, this should have been done last October, when there was inclement weather and there was plenty of time for discourse and discussion and working with the solicitor to come spring to get the bids out, because that's what was told to me by Felix last year. And what the director is stating is something completely different than what the employee was relaying to me.
Thank you.
Okay, Christopher, I'm going to say that we're actually in a time crunch, and it sounds like
Yeah, no, that's fine.
we might have it. We're going to have another opportunity. So I'd like to hear about this motion, because then we have to make another process decision about the rest of our agenda. So we have a motion on the floor. Any other comments, or should we do a roll? Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to speak.
No, I'm talking, we have a motion on the floor. I'm talking to the counselors right now. Laura, did you have something you had to say?
I was just wondering, so that would be 6 o'clock, because that's the time of the meeting on May 11th, I believe.
Correct.
Yes.
If just clarification.
Yeah. So if there are no other comments from counselors on this motion, I believe we should do a roll call.
Yes.
Councilor Maori,
Yes.
Councilor Labarge,
Yes.
Councilor Moulton,
Yes,
Councilor Nash.
Yes.
So that passes. So Christopher and iPhone G, there'll be another opportunity this Wednesday. And we'll make sure that we get the information. I believe Councilor Smolton has that information, and Catherine, we can make sure we get that to you if Councilor Moulton has your information. But we need to end comments because we're going to lose just a technical problem where we're about to be inundated by the full council meeting. So we just don't have we have a hard stop today, which is unusual for us. So can we, yes.
And I also think between now and next Wednesday, there's time for residents and for the DPW to talk about possible other resolutions here. The taking is still what's up in front of us, but hopefully by next Wednesday, we'll have another alternative or not. I don't know.
Right.
I know.
We'll certainly invite the solicitor and have more information by then. But I'm so glad that you joined us, Christopher and Catherine. So we're going to move on from here to discuss what we want to do with our, let's see, 5 minutes for our other financial orders. I wanted to check with President Nash about timing. I'm wondering if we can table these for the Wednesday meeting, or if they are time sensitive.
Yes, I'll make that motion.
Well, right. I just want to wait for President Nash to, I don't know if there's some, you can certainly make the motion, but yes,
Yeah.
Laura?
I don't think you can act on the order to accept the easements or alter the layout.
No, I'm talking about
No.
number 5. I'm talking about, I'm sorry, I'm talking about
No, the one of the
B.
Prospect Place, the. yes.
22.071.
Right,
Okay,
we want to add it on to our next
Right,
finance committee meeting on May 11th.
right. President Nash, I just wanted to check to make sure there's no time sensitivity around 22.071 in terms of next Wednesday.
Not for me.
Okay.
In terms of the order for taking, no.
No, I'm talking
No,
about
we're not.
22.007, order to approve 50,000 for short-term rental impact fees.
Yeah, that's actually on the agenda for tonight. And,
Right.
and I think that I'd like to make a motion to send that forward with a positive recommendation. I think that we were hoping to discuss that. We're expecting more feedback, but I think that's my motion. Send it forward with a
Okay.
positive
Okay.
recommendation.
I'll second that motion.
Excellent. Thank you, Councilor Barr. Just a second. So roll call on 22 point, sorry, Council Moulton?
we had just wanted the opportunity for more feedback. We've given that opportunity. I will simply say, I've spoken on this before, the overwhelming response in the last 4 months has been very positive about this affordable housing project. So we certainly should give it a positive recommendation.
Okay, so we've got a second. We've got a motion on the floor. Roll call, please, Laura.
Councilor Maori,
Yes.
Councilor Labarge,
Yes,
Councilor Moulton,
Yes,
and Councilor Nash.
Yes.
So the Finance Committee votes to send positive recommendation for 22.071. Let's see, and I'm just going to confirm May 11th at 6 p.m. and at that date on that agenda will be future meeting
Yeah.
more future meetings and times to discuss.
Okay.
Does that sound good for anyone, everyone?
Fine.
Okay, excellent. So.
I move to adjourn the finance committee.
Excellent. Yes, okay. Yes, roll call, Laura.
Counselor Maori,
Yes.
Counselor Labarge,
Yes.
Counselor Moulton,
Yes.
and Counselor Nash.
Yes.
Okay, we are adjourned and.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. See you guys
Yeah.
next week.
See you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you
Thank you,
all.
Catherine.
Hey,
Um,
Okay,
Laura,
now on to the next emergency.
All right.
So
Laura.
Yes.
the link for the
Laura.
council agenda
Oh, dear. I
is,
noticed.
is that it's saying it's for April 14th.
Yikes. Okay, I'm going to swap it out really quick.
I left you a
Pam,
message.
I checked it with Pam before the meeting and she was able to get in. Okay. But
Laura.
yes.
Laura, I also left you a message on your cell phone on the minutes for city.
Okay.
council.
You know what? Let her deal with this, Mary Ann. People
Yeah.
can't